Welcome to the BioBalance Healthcast, episode 692. Summer heat can kill you.
BioBalance Healthcast features conversations about anti-aging medicine. Your host is Dr. Kathy Maupin, Medical Director of BioBalance Health and a leading expert in treating symptoms of aging. Dr. Maupin is the author of The Secret Female Hormone, the seminal work about testosterone replacement therapy for women, and Got Testosterone, the award-winning book for men that helps men choose the most effective and safe form of testosterone replacement. These books are available on Amazon or from Dr. Maupin's office at BioBalance Health in St. Louis and in Kansas City. Dr. Maupin's office is currently accepting new patients.
Welcome to the BioBalance Healthcast. I'm Dr. Kathy Maupin, and today we're going to talk about what has been bothering us this summer. Most of the United States has been under a heat warning for weeks at a time, and many areas, except possibly the desert, have been under the heat that you feel is actually much higher than the temperature on the thermometer on the side of your house, basically. So this has some implications for your activity. It has some implications for how you can be safe and still go outside during the summer, because I believe that this is going to continue on into the fall. The biggest problem to avoid with heat is something called heat stroke. And heat stroke isn't actually what you consider a stroke. Like, it's not a blood clot that blocks a vessel in your brain, and it's not a lack of blood flow from a vessel that is blocked with plaque. It is a lack of blood flow to your brain because you're so dehydrated, and all of your blood flow goes out to your skin so that you can get cooler. Your skin and sweating cools you down. So the heat stroke is not enough blood to your brain or your muscles. Your body starts conserving its energy by taking all the blood flow and trying to go to the brain, going to the heart, and going to the intestines. So what causes heat stroke? So to know whether you're at risk when you go outside or your family does, you need to know what the risk factors are for you, and if you have all of these risk factors, then maybe you should stay inside in the cool. It requires that the ambient temperature outside, which is just the outside temperature you hear about on the weather, is elevated, and there is a high humidity. When you have high humidity, that actually causes your body heat to go up higher. So it may be 92 degrees on the thermometer, but the effective heat may be 104. And that's hot for humans and dogs and cats, pets. When your body temperature increases to a 104, you're in big trouble. So if you are diagnosing this yourself after you've been out in the heat and you take your temperature as 104, then I'll give you the steps to take to bring your temperature down. Another thing that compounds the humidity and the temperature is sun exposure. Actually, sun beating down on you makes the chance of heat stroke even worse. Dehydration. Most of us are dehydrated all the time. We don't drink enough water because we're busy. You have to drink plenty of water before you go outside, and then you should be drinking about 16 ounces of water, at least the very minimum, every hour that you're outside. If you are someone who sweats a lot like I do, you should be drinking more than that. And every third 16 ounce, you should have electrolytes in it. Nowadays, you can get electrolytes that are, and I've done another healthcast on that, and electrolytes that can come in a little straw that you can take with you, or they can come in tablets, but they should go into your water, and you drink that every third 16 ounces of water. That still may not keep you hydrated, but it's a good start. And the lack of blood electrolytes, if you water yourself down, say you go outside and every half hour you drink 16 ounces of water, and you're outside for 4 hours. you're going to flood your body with water, and you're going to water down all your electrolytes. And remember, electrolytes make your muscles contract. They give you good contraction. They make you think well. They run everything in your body. You have to have electrolytes for us to stay alive. And you've watered it down by not adding electrolytes to your water. You flooded yourself. And that can actually make you have signs of heat stroke. The recommendations are that you shouldn't be outside more than an hour without 10 minutes inside, or cooling down for 10 minutes with ice or a cool space, maybe even under a tree, but not out in the hot sun, someplace where you can rest, not exercise, and then you can go back out if you feel like it. I had an example of this issue just last week. I was playing golf. It was 95 degrees, but the humidity was about 50%. And I was with 3 other women, and we started at 8:30 thinking we'd get out when it was cool. It never was cool. It was hot the minute we started out. And we couldn't drive our carts on the fairway. We had to stay on the cart path, which makes golf more like it's about equivalent to dragging your bag with you. So it makes it a lot more work and makes you sweat more. So I got through several holes. I was drinking water. I was drinking electrolytes. I had eaten something before I started just to prepare myself for this hot day. But I was sweating so profusely that I couldn't keep up with my electrolytes. By halfway through the round, I started getting dizzy. I got a headache. And I started missing the ball. Like, my muscles wouldn't do what I asked them to do, and I knew I was starting to get into trouble, so I had to stop. It's quitting. I know it's quitting. I hate to quit, but it's important that you stop if you start getting these signs. So here are the signs of an impending heat stroke. Either you're sweating more than you usually sweat, or you don't sweat at all. You're thirsty, very thirsty. You have weakness of your muscles. You may even have trouble walking. You get a headache and dizziness. So I started getting some of these symptoms. When you have those symptoms, the best thing to do is to get into a cold place or a cool place where you can lie down. You don't want to have heat stroke or start to have heat stroke and, one, be alone. So because you may not be able to call 911 if you pass out. And so you need to have someone with you, and you need to be in a cool space lying down. Then you should drink cool but not cold water, not ice water. You should ask your buddy, whoever's with you, to get bags like Ziplocs to put under your arms, around your neck, and in your groin. That's where a lot of blood flow is. That's where we can cool your blood down, and that's what we're looking to do. So if you feel your headache and weakness is getting worse, or if you're starting to feel like you're losing consciousness, call 911. That should happen immediately. EMTs know what to do with heat stroke. They start an IV fluid, open it up wide, and get you back with some electrolytes from the fluid. And then they also increase your blood pressure again, because usually your blood pressure is dropping. The signs that you should call 911 include somebody passes out, they get confused and wander around and they don't act like themselves, a very rapid heart rate, like above 100, a bounding pulse, meaning when you feel your pulse, it's not just going to it's going boom, boom, boom. You can really feel it or even see it in someone's neck. The person has either dry skin completely or they're just sweating profusely. They have rapid and shallow breathing, like panting. And often they'll start feeling cold, which of course their body's not cold, and they start to shiver. That's a really bad sign. Any of those things should make you go, oh, this is heat stroke, I need to call 911. And everybody in the ER takes care of this, and they can use cooling blankets, they can use ice, they can use IV fluids, they have other ways of cooling you down, and that's what's needed in this case. So, How do you prevent it? So there are some things that you need to know about your own medical history that's going to make this worse. If it is 98 and 103 or something, the effective temperature outside, and you have heart disease, you have atrial fib, you have had a bypass, or you have stents, don't go outside. You're just higher risk than anybody else. You'll get it faster and it'll be more severe. You can die of this. I mean, people worry about having a heart attack, but heat stroke can actually kill you. So you don't want to take that chance if you have that medical history. Exercise indoors, walk in the mall, go someplace where it's nice and cool if you don't have air conditioning in your house. Put fans on and drink water and take electrolytes if you're warm. Another risk is if you're above 50. People who are above 50 often have trouble with circulation. Usually they're on a few medications. They've developed some kind of problems over their lifetime. So some of the problems are really dangerous conditions that are going to cause you to have heat stroke sooner and more severely. Some of these would be kidney damage, or if you're on a diuretic for high blood pressure, that makes you drier. That takes away some of your electrolytes, usually potassium, and that will make your muscles become very weak sooner. So the medications that you shouldn't be taking when you are going outside to do anything, if you're taking diuretics, either don't take it that day or don't go outside. I have a lot of my patients on spironolactone, not because it's a diuretic, but because it decreases facial hair and acne. So my patients should be aware of that, and if they're going to go outside and play pickleball or play golf or play tennis, they need to not take that medication that day, because they need to have all of the fluids that they can get to keep them from getting heat stroke. If you're on something called a beta blocker, most common is metoprolol or propranolol. It's given for high blood pressure. It's given for headaches. It's given for many reasons, atrial fib. If you're on those, that increases your chance of having heat stroke. It does reduce blood pressure, which is one of the problems with heat stroke. This is a new one for me, because I had to do the research on this before I talked to you. Lexapro and the other antidepressants actually make you higher risk for having heat stroke. I didn't know that. Amphetamines for ADD, people of all ages take those. That makes you higher risk for having heat stroke and having a bad result. And last but not least, thyroid replacement. Well, I'm on 3 of those. So I was actually, until I decided to prepare for this, unaware of the medications that could lead to heat stroke. And I'm sure that most of us who don't work in the ER, who are physicians, haven't really thought about that. But if you are on these medications, you have to make sure that you are well hydrated. You take all the precautions. You stop working every hour for 10 minutes or more. Go inside, cool down. And if you start getting any of the symptoms of heat stroke that won't go away, then you're probably going to need IV fluids. You can go to an urgent care center. You can go to the ER, but that's something that you're going to need to take care of. It. You probably won't come out of it, and you'll feel terrible for days on end. My husband had this when we were in Mexico. We were hiking Cinque Terre, and we got there too late in the morning, and it was hotter than it's ever been. This is several years ago. And we had started drinking our water when we were waiting for the train to take us there. So we didn't have enough water with us. I had electrolytes. I took the electrolytes. Nobody else wanted them. And certainly my husband didn't want them. My husband's surface area is twice mine. So he needed to drink twice as much water as I did, but he didn't, because he didn't feel like it. And he wouldn't take the electrolytes. So almost 3/4 of the way through the hike, he starts acting goofy, delirious, talking like somebody I don't know, and just wandering around. And we're on the edge of a cliff that goes directly down to the ocean. My friends and I were trying to keep him on the path, but there was no cover. We were in an area of that hike where there's no trees. And the heat was obviously getting to him, so we all pooled our water and gave him, and he didn't want to drink because his brain wasn't working properly. So we finally got to a little part of Cinque Terre. Cinque Terre's path is like this. Two people really can't pass side to side. And so we found one that had a little area jutting out and laid him down. And then we got water from people passing by, and I put electrolytes in it. And I gave it to him. And my husband would never say this in public, or maybe not even in private. He says, "This stuff tastes like pee." And I just said, "You have to drink it, or you're not going to get off this hike, because we can't call 911 in Italy and have them come up this little tiny path and carry you out. It wouldn't even work." He weighs 100 or 220 something. So that was not going to happen. But finally, after about 30 minutes of him lying down, cooling down, getting electrolytes and water, we got him back to one of the towns in Cinque Terre and got him something to drink and got him plenty of water, and he walked into the ocean and cooled down. However, I think in retrospect, I should have gone to the EMT that was in that town or the emergency medicine and given him IV fluid. He didn't feel good for 2 days, and he didn't tolerate heat. So if he had not been so strong, he's at that time he was 73. So if he had not been in great shape, if he had not worked out, he would have been in a lot more trouble than he was. But knowing what I know today and what I'm sharing with you, so you know what to do, that could save your life. So had he had a heart problem, had he had any kind of kidney issue, any kind of chronic disease, he probably wouldn't have made it. It's so important to drink water and to not go out when it's this hot. It was very humid as well. So I've learned by my experience, bad experience, how not to do it. So I want you to learn without having to have a bad experience on how to stay safe in this kind of weather. And I hope you do what my brain would normally do. I hope you don't do that. I keep saying, I can do this. I'm still, I'm 70, but I still work out. And that's not the point. The point is, if you have these symptoms, you could die. So you better go and get help and have somebody help you and get all of the things that you can possibly get that I listed to get you cool and hydrated again. I hope this helped you, and I hope if it just helps one person survive the summer, then I will have done my job. Please watch us next week. Bye.
Email your questions or comments to podcast@biobalancehealth.com. You can find the BioBalance Healthcast on iTunes and on YouTube. For more information about bioidentical hormone pellet therapy and other reverse aging solutions, visit biobalancehealth.com or call 314-993-0963. You can find Dr. Maupin on Twitter @Dr. Kathy Maupin and on Facebook at facebook.com/biobalancehealth.